Hello, ASL1. Happy Friday. As I told you today, I'm going to be talking about deaf gain. Deaf gain. This goes along with the most recent one where I was talking about autism, and autism is the hearing perspective that somebody being deaf is such a tragedy. And from deaf perspective, that isn't always the case. If this is what you know, then if that's your life, how do you know any different? And from many people's deaf perspective, and in the capital D cultural perspective of deaf people, there's a positive to it, even if there's little positive things. I just saw a video the other day of someone talking about their brother and always feeling bad and feeling guilty about their brother who was born sickly and has had several like sick episodes throughout their life, and the other person is famous and rich and has a great marriage and is healthy. And so the brother told him, if you are always pitying me and always feeling bad for you having a different life and I have a different life from you, that's demeaning, that my life is not good enough. And this is the only life I know to have this, ailment, affliction, whatever it was. So the brother knew his life or still does know his life to be that way. So he doesn't see it as like, why are you pitying me? Because this is my life and I have a decent life. It's a similar-ish kind of a thing here. So let me show you a quick video that I'm going to talk through, because that's the way it goes here. Let me get this out of the way. All right, I started it a couple of seconds in because they just introduced themselves in their YouTube page, which is called ASL Stew. And the person in the black shirt is deaf, and the person in the lighter colored tank top is hearing. But they both sign, and it's voiced over as well. So here we go. Deaf gain.
So why are we talking about that? Most people in general think that being deaf means you are disabled. You're measuring them like you can't hear.
Exactly. Remember the difference between lowercase d and uppercase d. Lowercase d, deaf, means the medical perspective of a person who was born without hearing or lost their hearing, who does not have enough hearing within the speech range. And hearing people's perspective is, you are missing your hearing, you're broken, you don't have what I have, and this is what it's supposed to be, and you don't have that, so poor thing for you, and I'm so sorry you're deaf. Remember the autism thing? Go back and watch that video the other day if you haven't seen it yet. And this is a deaf perspective that, hey, I don't feel like I'm broken or I'm missing something.
Times have changed, and now we're more aware of
deaf gain, a reframing of deaf as a form of sensory and cognitive diversity.
One benefit is if the deaf person
so true. That is so true. I think I've mentioned here before that if I'm out with deaf friends, I have had deaf friends laugh at me, make fun of me because I'll startle at a loud noise or a car backfires, or if we're watching the fireworks at 4th of July and I'm like, whoa, oh, and deaf people are all looking at me like, ha 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 ha, you're hearing. I hear nothing, not bothering me. So there's a positive. You don't have to hear all the noise in the world. Or if you choose to wear hearing aids or cochlear implants and you have noise, get the best of both worlds. You can get rid of it, which I wish we could do sometimes. Why is that not starting with the, come on. Space bar
The
usually
second
does it.
deaf gene is not being able to recognize. And that means it's sweet. Because another benefit is some people who are hearing, they have distraction that earphones or something like that.
I've worked in that situation before. I worked for the post office in a processing plant where, like, I wasn't delivering mail to your house, but when the like the processing plant where all the mail goes to and from the mailboxes and whatnot from the post offices, and then it gets sorted out and then sent to the correct areas and towns. It was super, super, super loud in there. And for hearing people, we just kind of got used to it, I guess. A lot of people wore earplugs or wore earbuds, and there were several deaf people who worked there. It didn't bother them at all. Yeah. Wish we could turn it off and on.
Another deaf gene is studies have proven deaf people have better peripheral vision. That's awesome.
Let me go to peripheral first. I didn't stop it in time. It's not that deaf people have better vision. It's not that they can see better over here on the side. Peripheral means seeing to the sides. It's that they're more aware of it. Like if you don't have that sound interference, or to the opposite for us, the visual disturbances, like I talked about the other day, if you're laying in bed at night and it's dark, that's when you hear every little creak and sound, right? Because we don't have the vision distracting us. So deaf people are more aware over here of seeing over here. If you put your hands up, you can see them, see how far you can move and still see your hands on the side. Over here, it's just deaf people are more visually aware, not that their vision is better.
On how to navigate through life, they can come up with different perspectives and great ideas. A deaf gene is being involved in the deaf community. Deaf community has deaf.
Exactly. Don't think about the loss. Get rid of your oddest perspective. Deaf people are people. Like she said, there are different perspectives. Deaf people can give a visual perspective to things, or how they notice something visually when they're not distracted by sound, or they just think differently because they're so used to living the visual life. So the point of all this is to know that a person being deaf is not this horrible, horrible tragedy and like, oh no, what are we going to do with this person? Oh, that poor person just can't hear. Well, they'll never be without music. I mean, they'll never be with music and enjoy it the way I can. That's thinking from a hearing person's perspective. If you never heard music, what are you losing? If you've never lived your life in silence like a deaf person, maybe a deaf person is going to think, oh, you poor hearing person, you never get silence. I've actually heard that from deaf people before. Like, really, you just never ever get silence? Especially since there's an app that on your phone that will recognize sounds around. Instead of just a voice to text, it'll show you that a toilet flush or there's water running or a door slams. And from then I saw so many deaf people saying, there's that much noise all around. They're just thrilled to death that they can't hear it. Or a couple of deaf friends who got cochlear implants, so they all of a sudden heard some background noises like birds in the morning or a clock making noise, and we're like, oh, I didn't realize there was so much sound in the world. But at least they get to turn it off when they want to. Take the implant off, take the hearing aid off. So that's the whole thing. Think about deafness not from a hearing perspective, not from a loss. Think of it as that is a life, that is a culture. Think about when you're with your own culture of friends as compared to not having to, but hanging out with older people or grandparents or friends of parents or cousins. It's not the same as when you're with your close-knit friends, right? So deaf people they still are in the United States, American culture, but have their own culture, subculture within as well. So there's another benefit. Get rid of negative thoughts, please. Like I said, when I had started grading projects that I'm still working on, that I saw a whole lot of that. And I know it's not done intentionally because you can hear and that's how you live your life, but just consider another perspective. All right. Let's see what.
If you guys think of any other deaf gays, let us know.
All right. So that was a very short video, and it seems a little bit like, all they talked about was not having to hear noise. There are plenty of videos out there that are much longer, 5, 20, 30 minutes long. I just wanted to give you a small taste in this little video here. So you are free to go onto YouTube and look up other things and look up more reasons for deaf gain. Whatever you need to do to change your perspective. Deafness is not a tragedy. You don't need to feel horrible for a person who was born deaf and, oh, how do you live your life? Get rid of it. All right. Got that? Any more questions? Let me know. I will see you next week. Have an awesome weekend.